Fashionistas, I have a big surprise for you this week. Not only are we going to be talking fashion as usual, but we're going to take it from a little bit different point of view. Today I have Michael Hill with me, and if you don't know Michael as a fashionista and a wonderful dog person, then you don't know Michael Hill. So all of you ladies, this is your chance for a little eye candy and a little chat to understand what the men in our lives are really looking for when they look for fashion. And Michael, besides being a California sun boy, you definitely are a fashionista.
Thank you, Elaine. So good to be with you today and talk about two subjects that I like, dogs and clothing.
There we go. And also, do tell us about loving California.
Oh my God, it's the best decision I made. Driving west, restarting in San Francisco, but I was in LA this weekend, and it's just sun and beaches and fresh air, socially distanced, of course. But I'm never going back.
Well, you are already then a California boy, which, they say, wish we could be all California girls, but,
Yep.
it works both ways. So, in the dog world, fashion has a very, I think, important place. And I think that paying attention to fashion and to the things that we can do to make ourselves look and feel better it's not something that we can say, oh, it's just a women's issue. I don't think so. Not in our world, which has been open to everybody long before society was in general. Fashion is a statement. So give me your point of view on that statement.
I think I completely agree. And the way I look at it, because I've, run into different viewpoints, as we all have, there's a lot of different opinions. But in my perspective, if we're putting as much effort into the presentation of these dogs with grooming and products and conditioning, the same should be applied to the people who are getting paid to present these dogs, or the owners who are going through all the work to present these dogs. So if you have a beautifully groomed dog, but you're dressed in clothes that don't fit or don't match or distract from your dog, you're kind of defeating the whole purpose of giving yourself every opportunity to make your dog look its best, which is what we're supposed to do at the dog show.
And the showing dogs, breeding dogs, having dogs, it's a very visual experience if you think about it. If you can't see the overall picture and understand that the picture of your dog is a vision, and the picture that you bring into that vision, it's like the whole portrait. It's not just the dog, it's the dog and the dog family. And we humans are the canine's family.
That's right. And I think it's a very like you said, it's very visual, and it's an art form. And I think fashion through clothing and breeding through dogs are both, visual arts that, should tie together rather than distract from each other. So people do need to give it some thought when they're walking into the ring.
Absolutely. And was fashion always a part of your life?
No, I definitely did not always know whatsoever what to wear. It's been a learned progression, and that's why I can be very tough on people sometimes when they're asking me that. It's like, if I could figure out how to dress or present myself or condition myself, anybody could do that. And it doesn't have to be crazy expensive. It doesn't have to be a one-size-fits-all thing as well. Just like you don't groom every dog the same way, not every body type is going to be depicted the same way in the same fit. So, some basic things that you can start off with can kind of get you started, and then you learn and you piece things together as you grow. And you sometimes have to tie things together, like you have to try things out and say, that hairstyle didn't work for me, or that fit doesn't work for me, but you have to at least start somewhere rather than being too overwhelmed or uncomfortable to try to make a change. And that's where other people are the best.
and that's kind of, I evolved too. I didn't grow up saying, oh, I'm a fashionista. It
Right.
became something that I felt was important for me, and it took me a while to kind of find the things that work for me. And in all these episodes we've been doing, that's kind of what I've been trying to impart to primarily women, but I do know a lot of men do watch the show as well. And that is to understand that we are all different. And the type of thing that looks good on me won't look good on the next person. And so you have to try and not be afraid to try. And that's why I say, when you find something that you know is good or that it didn't work, make those notes of it. I mean, find a color that you love. See that it looks good on you. And the same thing, with the way you approach your shopping. Be smart about it. But these were all things that, that just like you, I was able to learn. And I guess the impetus, though, was being out in public more. Would you say that's kind of what impelled you to become
Absolutely. Absolutely. The more that I've traveled, and frankly, most of the travel in my life was started through dogs. And by going to dog shows in different cities and other countries, picking up dogs, going to Europe, going to, New York, going to California, you see different styles and you see different trends, which are different than fashion. But I think fashion is something that's more timeless, and then styles and trends are something that more kind of come and go. So I think, it's one of those things where that's where you find your personal style. You kind of find what you think works for you and complements you, not necessarily what just happens to be hot at the moment.
Vogue, so to speak.
Yes, exactly. Because we're not all Vogue models, and we don't all need to be.
Or Gentleman's Quarterly, or whatever they're calling it this way.
Right.
Men's Health.
Exactly. But it's something too that I find that it doesn't apply for me just in suits at a dog show. It can even be in your athletic wear or your casual clothes. Just something as simple as knowing what colors work for you, what fit works best for you, so that you're just kind of feeling and looking your best all the time. It just does a lot for your mood, and for also, I think, just benefiting professional and personal lives as well, because people notice that and they respect it and they respond to it, whether it's conscious or not.
And you know what, Michael, that's exactly what we talked about when we brought the women into the closet here. I mean, Closet Confidential has really been about, and we should say also closet confidence. I mean, it's building up that level and that knowledge that you can very successfully transform yourself in so many ways. I mean, we've talked about ways to, put things together, vintage and Vogue. I mean, we had people come in and discuss hair and makeup.
Yeah.
And really, it's not that different for men. It's like personal care is personal care. And I so
Moisturizer's your friend.
Well, tell me about it.
Especially when you're outside of dog shows all day.
And you know what? Travel. Travel takes a lot out of your skin.
Hydration needed.
And all the other things. So now that you have involved, now what should we call a male fashionista? What do you think is a good word, Michael?
It's a good question.
Would you be a fashionist? And we are fashionistas.
Fashionist, fashionista, I don't know. Fashion lover. Fashion minded. How about fashion minded?
I think what we're really saying is even in our fashion lives, sex has no preference. I mean, you see men who can dress very masculinely or be very soft in their approach to the way they dress.
And I think it's important to notice that, just because your suit is tailored does not mean that that looks gay, or that just because it's looser fitted doesn't mean that you look straight. That's one of the things that I do harp on with people is, don't be afraid to look good because it doesn't match what's typical for your sexuality.
Well, absolutely. And I think that a lot more straight men are much more willing now to experiment with the kind of things that they would never worn before. My husband wore pink shirts to work for a long time because I loved him in pink.
Yeah, he had a good influence.
He said to me, "Why am I wearing pink shirts?" And I said, "Because you look good in them."
Yes, exactly.
You have to be open to that. And there are some women who are very, very tailored in their approach to clothes, and they look great too.
Right. Absolutely. And again, it's one of those things where it's not every body type is the same, so it's more about what's right for your body rather than what fits the kind of mold that you see yourself in.
And that's a good thing, because the mold you may see yourself in is maybe not the mold that everybody else sees you in. And then you can really morph that into something different.
Right.
Even in accessorizing. I mean, I think men are wearing a lot more accessories here.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, even at a dog show, there's pocket squares, there's bracelets and rings and ties and cufflinks and necklaces. Yep.
Earrings. We see some great diamond studs in some of those guys' ears.
And there's nothing to be afraid of with that. I think all those little details when done tastefully. I even see tattoos as a accessory when they're tasteful. right? Like in any form of accessory, there can be gaudy, there can be over the top, there can be offensive. And we can also be classy, it can also be artistic, it can also be complimentary. And I think that's where honing one's brain and their eye, just like with a dog, to kind of learn the feel and the look that your presentation puts forward is important, rather than just saying like a blanket, this is bad, this is good, but this is right for you, and this is maybe not the best for you, or maybe this is distracting.
And what's really, I think, supportive of all of this is that our world has become much more encouraging for us to be very much able to individualize ourselves. It's like you can, some people say, oh, well, why would you wear that? That looks awfully young. And I think, well, as long as I don't look like a kid in it, it fits me well. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
Put something on that, you feel freshens you up and makes you feel and look better, and keeping your body in good condition.
Yes. Just like the dogs. I mean, that's something that like you have to make a priority, I think, for anybody, regardless of what line of work you're in. If you're going to be putting the same amount of time into nutrition and exercise with your dogs, you should be doing the same for yourself. Just for your own health.
I remember when I started working on judging sporting dogs, and then, seriously going about it. And I thought to myself, well, if you're going to judge those sporting dogs, you better get done. So this is a good one. And, there's no way. Seeing dogs is standing, bending, picking them up, putting them down. I think that being physically capable of doing that is just an essential part, just as we want our dogs to perform to follow function. I think the way we approach part of fashion is to make yourself function.
Yep. And there's also, like, especially when it comes to suits, I know there's certain brands that, like, I found that are still formal looking, but more flexible, breathable fabric. So when you are running and sweating and bending over, it maybe gives a little bit more than other fabrics. And that's something that you can learn a lot as well, and you can make your life a lot easier, because you see some people, like, I know I've had days years ago where, like, I'd be sweating all the way through my suit jacket because I'm wearing wool outside, like, in the middle of the summer on a campground or wherever it was. But, now I have different wardrobes for different seasons, and also for different, if I'm showing a lot of dogs versus if I'm showing one dog. I'll take those things into account when I'm dressing as well. So form and function are playing into materials and fits.
Now, most of us female fashionistas are real. Let's just say we have a lot of shoes.
Yes.
And a lot of the male fashionists seem to have a lot of shoes too. Could you care to expand?
Oh, yes. I mean, men have just as much, if not more, shoes sometimes than ladies. I mean, I can be all kinds. I mean, like, athletic shoes are a huge thing, for a lot of male friends of mine, that they are like a collector's item, and they'll maybe rarely wear them. For me, even at a dog show, I have a variety of shoes that I'll wear, because I think that complements my outfit as well. So, a lot of people do dress for comfort.
Also the environment in which you're showing, when it's important to have it.
If I'm in the mud versus if I'm on concrete, like I have some Polhan shoes that are great for on concrete, because you can stand on them all day, and they have an athletic feel to them, but they still look formal and, elegant. And then there's also other shoes, like, that are more like boot style, that I'll wear if it's raining. And, for slicky grass kind of substances, I'll use ones with more traction on the bottom, so that I'm
a golf shoe girl.
Yeah, exactly.
They work really well in that grass in the morning, so you don't fall on your butt. It's a very important.
That's why I have them, because I've been there. I have fallen on my butt showing those German Shepherds, and you're on the grass, and they keep going, and so do you.
That's exactly right.
It's important to have all those tools, just like you have all those tools for grooming your dogs. Like, I try to keep bringing it back to that, because I think that helps people normalize the necessity of these things, and not look at it just as like, oh, well, this is a fashion kind of thing. It really applies to everybody.
I've often watched several well-known handlers that I know get their dogs ready and grooming them at the dog show and doing everything, coat to nails. And I thought to myself, maybe in another life, but that sounds really good to me.
Right.
Michael, this is a ton of fun. I think what we need to do is get some of the fashionists from the dog world in on a great discussion, and let's hear their points of view on male fashion and bring them in and let's discuss it. Just like we've had so many episodes to talk about different women. I mean, I am an equal opportunity girl.
Love it. I think we should
the equal
elevate elevate the voices. I think that's a great idea.
Would you team up with me and let's put some guys together and let's have another frank discussion? Or couple, let's open the forum and let's get some of those guys out there to send some questions. If you want, on the website, on a Facebook for Canine Chronicle, you'll see that Amy.Grabe has a spot where you could send us a 1-minute video with a question. Or if you're not willing to send us a video, we're happy to take your questions in writing, and Amy's address is there. And, you know, the Canine Chronicle has been so receptive to the Closet Confidential that we just want to keep making it better for everybody. So, Michael, can we have another date?
I think maybe let's do the same time next week.
Wow, it'll be afternoons with Michael and the men. Okay.
There we go.
Thank you for your time today. You are looking absolutely stellar. California definitely agrees with you, and we wish you so much happiness while you're out there. And we'll be back again next week. So on behalf of the Canine Chronicle, on their webpage and on their Facebook page, this is Elaine Lessig for Closet Confidential with Michael Hill today, saying until next time, bye.
Bye.
I want everybody to check on the Canine Chronicle website or on the Facebook page. There'll be instructions on how to submit a 1-minute video where you can ask your question, and we will choose some really great questions and go into it. Please tell us your name, where you live, what you do in dogdom. Are you a handler? Are you a breeder? Are you an exhibitor? And we'd like to tailor the answer to your needs specifically, but something that we can share with everybody. So don't forget to check on the Canine Chronicle website and on the Facebook page for the information on where to send your questions to the Closet Confidential.